The storm rolled in just before dusk, a slow-moving bruise over the hills that turned the glass walls of the house into a mirror of bruised purple sky. The place sat above the city like a ship, sleek and white, all clean lines and expensive quiet, its lawns combed as carefully as a resume. Down in the valley, the freeway roared like the ocean. Up here, wolf swallowed sound. You could whisper and hear your breath. You could shout and pretend it was the wind. In the kitchen that smelled faintly of lemon oil and roasted coffee, Ruth was cutting peaches for tomorrow's breakfast. She did it the way women of 60 learn to do things, efficiently, without wasting flesh. She wore a blue cardigan over a plain dress, her white hair pinned into a neat coil that the humidity kept teasing loose. She paused once to stretch her hands, the fingers that had typed in offices and washed boyhood mud from jeans and stitched buttons back on shirts late at night. Her palms had thin white scars. "You don't have to do that," said Camila from the doorway, balancing a stack of folded towels against one hip. She was 24, newly hired, with the round black eyes of someone who listens more than she speaks. The uniform made her look smaller than she was. Black dress, white apron, hair braided smooth. "We have fruit delivered peeled." Ruth smiled. "I know, but the delivered kind never tastes like peaches." Camila returned the smile, set the towels in the cabinet, and hesitated, listening. It wasn't a sound so much as the absence of one. The house had a way of going still before it broke. Ruth heard it too. She set the knife down and wiped her hands. A voice rose from the hallway. Sharp, precise, used to cutting. "Told you already, you can't just walk around here and tell people what to think." Another voice, softer, older. "I was only saying we must be kind. It always comes back, darling, the way we treat people." "Don't call me darling." The heels clicked like small weapons as Victoria came into the kitchen. She was 28 and camera perfect, the sort of blonde that happens on magazine covers when lighting and money agree. Her dress was white and minimal and cost as much as a used car. She had a way of smiling with just her teeth. "Your advice," she said, letting the word hover, "is not needed." Ruth inhaled, set her shoulders. It wasn't advice. It was a reminder. My son's home is a blessing. We share it. We respect it. We don't belittle the people who make it run. Her eyes flicked to Camila, not to put her on display, but to pull her into safety. Victoria laughed. "Don't pretend this is some charity. It's a house. He bought it so he could finally live like he deserves. Not so you could turn the kitchen into a church and the staff into your little congregation." Camila took a small step backward, towel still in her hand. "Senora Ruth didn't say." "Don't." Victoria snapped, without looking. "Your staff. You don't speak unless you're spoken to." The storm pressed against the glass. A tremor of thunder rolled like furniture dragged over a floor. Ruth kept her voice even. "You're going to marry my son, Victoria? If you want a long life here, learn this. The people who clean your glass walls will be the first to know when they crack." Victoria's smile held on like a mask that had been pinned. "And the people who hang on their son's every word," she tilted her head, "should probably remember who he listens to now." She moved closer, invading space the way certain predators do. No raised voice, just pressure. "You think I'm cruel because I asked Camila to redo the bed after she wrinkled the duvet. That's not cruelty. That's standards. Men like Malik have standards." Ruth blinked, the sting of his name arriving before his feet. "He has a heart," she said. "He built everything he has with it." "And with focus," Victoria replied. "Focus I intend to protect." Her eyes flicked to the fruit. "Are we peeling our own now? Is that the new policy?" Ruth's hand found the counter. "We'll do it however we like in the morning," she said. "Tonight, we will all be civil." "Civil?" A soft, dangerous laugh. "You call me unkind for correcting staff. You told me it comes back. That's not civil, Ruth. That's a threat with a prayer ribbon on it." Camila felt it happen before she saw it. The way anger pulls the room into a funnel. Victoria stepped closer. Ruth tried to put a hand on her arm, a mother's instinct to soothe. It may have been the storm, or the slick tile, or the universe testing its edges, but Victoria jerked away so hard her shoulder threw Ruth off balance. The older woman staggered, heels skidding on lemon oil, and fell. The cutting board slid. The peaches fanned across the floor like coins. Time did what it does in moments like that. It slowed to a cruel crawl. Ruth's head struck the tile with a hollow sound. She sucked air with her teeth, more surprised than wounded. the old pain in her hip flaring as she rolled to his side. "Don't touch me," Victoria said automatically, then realized who was on the floor. The mask snapped back on. "Oh my God," she breathed, rushing forward with the performance of a lifetime. "Ruth, I'm so—" Camila was already there, kneeling, hand gentle at Ruth's shoulder. "Señora, Myra Key," she said, slipping to Spanish out of care. "Look at me. Do you feel dizzy? Can you move your fingers?" Ruth nodded, testing her hand. "It's my hip," she said, trying to smile through it. "Just old bones talking." Victoria stood over them like a judge at a sentencing. "She grabbed me," she announced, voice aimed down the hallway, where footsteps now echoed. Heavy, sure, familiar. "She grabbed me. I told her not to, and she slipped." "Don't," Camila said quietly. She looked up, her eyes level. "That's not what happened." Victoria's smile curled. "Careful, sweetheart. People like you don't get to rewrite scenes." The footsteps reached the threshold. Malik filled doorways the way certain men do even when they don't mean to, broad-shouldered, tall, the lines of a life that began in scarcity and built its own architecture. His skin was the warm dark of polished wood. His eyes, the color of an old basketball court, amber with memory. He wore a charcoal suit with the kind of ease that looks like it was sewn on him. Rain freckled his shirt collar. He took it in. His mother on the floor, the peaches, the knife, the storm light. Victoria's face like a portrait expertly lit, Camila's hand steady on Ruth's shoulder. His voice lowered to that octave men use when the room is fire and you still need to breathe. "What happened?" Victoria turned, tears already bright, her performance flawless. A tremor. Ruth slipped. "I tried to help." Camila, her eyes flicked, calculating. "Camila, please tell him." Camila's hand didn't move. "Senor," she said, looking at Malik. "She pushed your mother away when she tried to calm her." Senora Ruth fell. "Pushed?" Victoria recoiled, eyes flaring stage-wide. "Are you insane? You did this," she said, jabbing a finger at Camila. "You and your sloppy lemon oil. This floor is a hazard because she can't clean properly. She's been a problem since she got here. I told you we needed a professional agency, not some charity case." Ruth breathed in a sharp no. That sounded like the start of a longer sentence she couldn't finish. The pain in her hip stole words. Her hand found Camila's and squeezed. Malik's jaw flexed once. Twice. He crouched beside his mother. "You okay, Ma?" "I'm all right," Ruth said, lying the way mothers do. "Just a scare." "We should go to urgent care," he said. "Now." He looked up at Victoria. "Get my keys." Victoria blinked. "You're Malik, I." "Keys," he repeated. The word wasn't loud, but it had weight. She turned, heels cracking against the tile. He exhaled through his nose, a slow count, then looked at Camila. "Help me get her up." They moved like people who had practiced this without practicing. Ruth's arm over Camila's shoulder, Malik supporting the other side. The storm pressed closer, watching itself in the glass. At the door, Victoria reappeared with a set of keys that caught the island lights like small knives. "I'll sit in the back with her," she said quickly, softening her voice to the fiancé register. "She'll want me there." Ruth didn't look at her. "Camila will come," she said, surprising even herself with the fierceness of it. "Camila has steady hands." Victoria's smile fractured for an instant. Then she slid it back on. "Of course," she said. "Whatever you need." They left in the storm with hazard lights winking against the ring. The house hummed in their absence, settling. On the kitchen floor, a slice of peach clung to the knife like a tongue. The hospital lights hummed like insects, sterile and merciless. Ruth insisted she was fine, and the doctors, after scans and prods, agreed it was only a bruised hip. But Malik saw the shadow in her face, the knowledge that what happened in that kitchen was no accident of lemon oil. Camila never left her side, holding her purse, fetching her water, translating the paperwork when the nurse spoke too fast. Victoria sat in the corner scrolling through her phone, face bent into a light that wasn't for them. When they returned home past midnight, the house felt colder. The storm had passed, but the walls held its echo. Ruth went to rest upstairs with Camila's help. Malik lingered in the living room, jacket still on, staring at the city lights like they might answer him. Victoria slid her arms around his waist, pressing her perfume into his chest. "She's fine," she whispered. "You saw the scans. Just a scare. Let's not turn this into something it isn't." Malik's body was stone. She said you pushed her. She's old, Malik. She stumbled. You know how memory twists things. She looked up, eyes glassy. You trust me, don't you? His silence was not the answer she wanted, but it was the only one he had. He kissed her forehead out of habit and went upstairs to check on his mother. Days turned into a pattern of fractures. Ruth walked with a cane, but her eyes were sharp. She whispered to Malik once in the garden, "Don't let her turn you against yourself." He only squeezed her hand and said, "Rest, Ma." Camila overheard, her heart tight. She had grown up watching men like Malik, strong, brilliant, blinded by beauty that cut like glass. Victoria, meanwhile, became more demanding. She ordered Camila to polish the same banister 3 times, berated her for serving coffee too hot, too cold, never right. Once, when Ruth asked Camila to sit for a moment and share tea, Victoria appeared and snapped, "The help doesn't sit." The cup rattled in Camila's hand, but she didn't spill. Malik began noticing charges on his credit card, designer shoes, spa treatments, dinners he hadn't attended. Victoria laughed them off. "You told me to enjoy myself. Isn't that what this life is for?" He didn't argue, but the seed grew. The breaking point came at a dinner for investors. Malik's company had secured a crucial partnership, and he wanted his fiancée at his side. The house glowed with chandeliers. The wine poured like ceremony. Ruth wore a simple navy dress, dignity wrapped around her like armor. Camila had worked all day preparing, ensuring each candle stood straight, each napkin folded crisp. Halfway through the evening, as Malik discussed contracts with 2 venture capitalists, Victoria laughed too loudly. "You know," she said, gesturing at Ruth across the table, "she still insists on peeling her own fruit. Isn't that adorable? Like we're running a retirement home instead of a modern house." The table went still. Ruth's eyes dropped to her plate. Camila, serving bread, froze. Malik's jaw set. The investors exchanged glances, amused, uncomfortable. One cleared his throat, muttering about respect. After the guests left, silence clung to the hallways. Malik found Victoria in the kitchen pouring herself another glass of wine. "What was that?" he asked quietly. "What?" she said, feigning innocence. "You humiliated my mother in front of my partners." She humiliated herself. "Malik, if you want to be taken seriously in those circles, you can't drag your old life with you. They were laughing at you, not me." He stared at her as if seeing her for the first time. "My old life made me," he said. "My mother made me." Her face flickered, mask cracking. "So this is about her? Always her? She's manipulating you. And that maid, don't think I haven't noticed the way she looks at you." "You've noticed everything but yourself," he said. That night, Malik couldn't sleep. He walked the glass halls, city lights trembling below. He saw Camila in the kitchen, cleaning though the counters already gleamed. "You don't have to do that now," he said. She straightened, startled. "I couldn't sleep." He nodded. They stood in the quiet hum. Finally he asked, "Did she threaten you?" Camila hesitated, then, "She said if I spoke, I'd be sent back. That I don't belong." The words struck harder than he expected. He wanted to promise safety, but promises felt thin when you lived with a lie. "Thank you," he said simply, "for staying." The next evening, he tested Victoria. He told her one of his investors had doubts, wanted to know her intentions. He suggested they meet. She panicked, snapping that she didn't need to prove herself to some old men. Later, when she thought she was alone, he overheard her on the phone. "Relax. Once the wedding's done, I'll have access." He's so blinded by guilt, he won't question a thing. The words iced through him. Guilt, for being the son of a white mother and a father who vanished, for rising where others fell, for never being enough for either world. He had carried it his whole life. But not tonight. He stepped into the doorway. Access to what? Victoria froze. The mask fell completely, replaced by naked calculation. "Malik." He held up a hand. "Don't. It's over." She tried tears, tried fury, tried seduction, all in minutes. None landed. He opened the door and pointed. "Leave." When she refused, he called security. They escorted her out, stilettos striking the marble like gunshots. She shouted behind her shoulder, "You'll regret this. She'll drain you dry like the rest." The door shut. Silence returned, broken only by Ruth's slow steps down the stairs. She leaned on her cane, watching her son. Her eyes were wet but fierce. "You saw her," she said. "I saw," Malik whispered. He wrapped an arm around her, the boy still inside the man. Camila lingered at the edge of the room, unsure if she should stay. Ruth beckoned her closer. You were brave, she told her. You kept me standing. Camila shook her head. I only told the truth. And sometimes, Ruth said, that's the bravest thing of all. The weeks after were a slow healing. Malik focused on his work, on his mother's health, on clearing the air that had been poisoned. The house felt warmer, lived in. Camila remained quiet, diligent, never asking for more than her place. But when Malik passed her in the halls, he noticed the steadiness of her presence, the way she carried herself with quiet dignity. He didn't call it love, not yet, but he called it hope, and that was enough.